All right. We're back, and I have the privilege to have Shannon Pace Brinker here live today with us. She is so awesome. She has been a mentor for me. I was her predecessor at the Nash Institute. Like, Shannon, like I've followed you basically my whole career. So
We followed each
I
other.
just so I want to. You opened a lot of doors for me, and I just wanted to have you here. And I can't wait for the world just to kind of hear all the cool things that you're doing. So, without further ado, a little bit about Shannon Pace Brinker.
Well, thank you, Holly. It's a pleasure. I am really so excited. I think just to kind of see. I've been in dentistry now, 34 years, going on 35, and really the last 2 years changing a lot of the way that I did courses and the way that I really approached dentistry. I really took a nuance into an avenue of I actually have a whitening center now, and really focusing more on whitening um, to restorative. Really, the best part about this is that we're able to still do consults, which we know we love people, and consults are what we really love to spend time, find out about them. But most importantly, being on a different side of dentistry, knowing that probably over the last 2 years, I think I've whitened over 2,000 total. I've whitened about 4,500 people, which is really crazy. And just seeing that so many patients that come into this door need restorative work, and everything starts from that whitening, I think, process. And most importantly, just trying to open the eyes to dentists. We always knew that, right? That whitening would bring more work. I think from this side now, seeing, hey, we really need to do this, that I'm becoming a referral source to my orthodontist, my general dentist, and really several dentists actually. And it's been a different view, as I would say. One of the things that I hope being a part of this tonight is really raising that awareness of what whitening can bring for your practice. And for
Yeah.
me, I'm totally on the opposite side now of having my own whitening center and trying to teach dentists that if you don't do this, somebody else is going to do it. They're going to go
Right.
somewhere else. And what we miss out on is what could possibly come from the whitening. And so many people, less than 6%, I was giving this from Ultradent, this percentage right now, less than 6% of the general practices are doing whitening. And that's sad because this is a $35 million industry. I think 100 million people have whitened their teeth last year. It's like, well, then where are they going? So,
Right.
for me, we're
They're
taking a
going
chance
somewhere.
here. They're going somewhere. And
Right.
for me, it's like, we're rolling the dice and hoping that somebody doesn't steal them in another practice because we didn't offer it. And so
Yeah.
that's really been I think my passion, my drive, to really open the eyes to dentists. How much money can you really make? And just reminding them that insurance doesn't cover this. It's cash.
Yeah.
Why would we
So
not do
Shannon,
more of this?
so Shannon, before we go, I want to talk about the whitening shop. I want to focus on like all the cool things you're doing, but you didn't just open a whitening shop because you've been in dentistry for 35 years.
No.
You took a journey that got you to become a business owner, that got you to your brick and mortar. You started in dentistry 35 years ago and it was different. And
It
you
was.
put the work in. So many people think, oh, I want one of those and I want one of those and I can do that. But this has been a journey to get to all of this business ownership as a dental assistant. So give them a little backstory real quick, and then
Yeah.
we'll jump back into how awesome what you're doing is and
I will.
how.
Yes, I would tell you, Holly, I had no clue really. I mean, we're sitting, yes, we're ordering supplies and we have a budget and we know, but also being speakers, we get to use a lot of products. We have a lot of technology, but when you really have to write the check for these things, it's like, oh my gosh, this is 300 something dollars for this one cartridge. I mean, what in the world? I mean, we start looking at those things totally different. And I can tell you
Yeah.
that supplies are expensive, and we're not just like dentists, right? I mean, I'm a dental assistant. I wasn't trained. Okay, well, we need to know, okay, this is how much money I need to make per hour, and this is what it's going to cost. I just know that I said, hey, I really want to. I was seeing 20 patients a day for whitening. So why would I not do this? And I can help open the eyes to patients with what else they need. I had no idea. I mean, I had no idea. So, where I am is in Virginia Beach. And in Virginia, there are no laws when it comes to whitening. It is really and truly anyone can open up a whitening center. And right now, there's 11 states where they're very similar to Virginia.
Sure.
But let me just tell you, you got to be careful here. First of all, we're dealing with the public, and these people are coming in the door, and they think they're going to get 11 shades whiter. So
because they saw it on TikTok, right?
Oh yeah. Listen, one thing is let me just let you know, I had to have a $5 million policy. 5 million. That wasn't just because I needed $5 million policy. I had to when I signed my lease. That was on my lease. So I'm thinking, I said, well, I'm a dental assistant. I'm not a dentist. What's going to happen with whitening? It really doesn't matter. The law is I got to have a $5 million policy because if something goes wrong, I'm responsible for that. So, this is not all, giggles here. I mean, you're thinking about renting a space. You're going to have to pay for all the utilities. You've got to pay for the equipment. You've got to have chairs. You've got to have lights. I'm just got a whitening center. You got to have a sterilization. And let me just tell you, just because you think, oh, well, I'm not a dentist's office, the state's not going to come in. Oh, yes, they will, because I have to do everything just like I did in my dental office. I have to follow OSHA protocols. I got Michelle Strange's book on, making sure that I am autoclaving and I am sending in my test strips. I'm doing everything just like I would in a dental office. And let me tell you, it's been 2 years and I am $100,000 in debt. So let me just tell you, unless you got that kind of money that you can seep into it, do not think that this is something that just anybody can do. Now, you could rent a hole in the wall, but we're better than that. We're dental professionals, and this is where we really and truly have to think about this. And listen, I don't want assistants and hygienists going out and opening up their own practice. If you really do it, and Hollie, you said this best, if we really did this right, this could be something we could do in the practice. I mean, remember what I said, the reason I did this was because I was seeing 20 patients a day just for whitening. Patients were coming in, they didn't even know my dentist. They were coming in because I had helped develop those relationships, which every team member has relationships, right? Let's be honest. We have great relationships with these patients. But this is where I want, the doctors that watch this to open up and say, listen, a lot of times we get burned out as team members because you're not letting us soar. You're not letting us do what we love. I don't want to do root canals. I don't want to do extractions. I'm not going to do that in my career. I don't like it. I mean, I'll do it if I had to, but it's not my favorite thing in the world. But, whitening's what I love, Invisalign's what I love. Put those people in those places and find somebody that loves root canals. I mean, these are the things that I think we're not looking at. Can we do this? And listen, I will tell you that in such a short period of time with some of the practices that I've worked with, I have one in Boston that I've only been working with for 6 months, and they have already made $50,000 just in whitening alone. And let me tell you, they work 1 day a week in whitening. Just 1 day is all they're doing right now. So it's cash. I mean, this is where we just don't think about it. It's cash. We're not filing insurance for this. And so why do you need to have a place like what I have? I want doctors to wake up and say, hey, we can do this right in our office. And there's probably team members that you have that would love it and be as passionate about it as I am. It's not that hard.
Absolutely. Well, you've had a history of learning and growing under great clinicians that valued things like this, that allowed you to have opportunities to grow and soar. And that's a mind shift in today's dentistry and the younger dentist of really recognizing the value of the dental assistant, the value of the dental hygienist, your administrators. We all bring the value to the table. And for you to do the job you do, there has to be, a partnership and a team. But to grow a great culture and really find out like, oh, Shannon is so good at presenting treatment and she's awesome at Invisalign and she's my best at whitening. Let's tee her up and put her in the right position. Right. And then I've got this cute little introvert over here and she is great at extractions and she's so good at the details of the root canal. And she makes sure that everything I have and everything I need is set up well. I can have it all. I can have everything. But it's no different than a hygienist that loves new patients versus one that just is so deep into perio. We all have a passion, and if we don't continue to cultivate that and do it in a great culture, it burns. And it burns us out to where there's not everybody's got the grit to just stay the course. Some just say, I'll give it up and go to the house. Or I'll go work for your friend down the street. But
Absolutely.
whitening is the gateway to aesthetics.
It is.
It's the great way. It's the gateway to straight teeth. Why do we whiten after our teeth are straight? What's the difference of whitening crooked teeth versus straight teeth, Shannon?
Absolutely. I mean, today at lunchtime, I actually did some training for a local orthodontist, and that was one of the things that I feel like teaching so many courses for Invisalign. I mean, I've taught probably 60,000 people just on Invisalign alone,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my God, why are we waiting to the end? So we're going to celebrate. So we're going to give you some syringes of whitening. Why didn't we celebrate from the very beginning when the tissue is going to look all nasty? Their teeth are going to be sensitive. Every time I have a patient that I'm doing whitening on, by the time I get to them, they've already done the ortho, they've already had the braces, and their teeth are so sensitive that we've got to wait. We've got to, treat them with, with MI1 and just really trying to minimize the sensitivity before we can even put bleach on those teeth. Why are we waiting? And the doctor said, Shannon, I didn't even think about that, and I said, and
But
the other
so
thing is,
many don't. I
no, they
mean,
don't. They don't.
it's rethinking what we've done for so many years
Right.
and saying,
Crazy.
let's refigure it out. But what do you and I know? I mean, if someone came in and they had a dookie tooth and some crooked teeth, and they were talking about how they would like to have a couple veneers, but only a couple, right?
Right.
We would whiten their teeth first to kind of see what color we're going to get up to and then try to match up what we've got, right?
Right.
So why do we act like it's any different now?
I will say that I think so many practices poo-poo whitening. They don't have the time for it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to learn about it. They don't want to master it. It's not that hard. But the thing for me is there are a lot of people out there that have no money. They can't do veneers. They couldn't do it. I mean, I'm from Bristol. You're from Tennessee. Let's be honest. If I wasn't in dentistry, there's no damn way I could afford to have my dental work done. I mean, really,
Right?
$64,000 for the work. I mean, the thing for me
We're
is why
both
would you
going.
not
Yeah.
exactly? Why would you not try to do something for everybody? I think that's the mentality in the human side of dentistry that we're missing. But we'll give away, a couple of crowns, or we'll give away this. Why don't we lower the fee where anybody can afford it? Because at the end of the day, that person may not be where that is right now, and maybe 2 years from now, I can afford to do other dentistry. What makes me sad is when these people come into my shop and they're here because I was running a special. They were here because I did a Groupon. Shannon is not beneath. Listen, I grew up in a trailer park. I love Groupon. Do you know some of my greatest patients come from Groupon? But
Yeah.
I know how to play the game with Groupon, because they're going to take half. But this is where you gotta know what you're doing, and again, knowing what you want to do. But my thing is I think sometimes we feel like, oh, it's beneath us, but whitening brings everything. So much comes. And the reason why I started doing this was I was seeing, like I said, 20 patients a day, and I had the schedule to prove it because people were like, really, you saw that many people? No, 22 is as most I've ever seen in one day. But let me tell you, $189,000 of treatment came out of my whitening chair in a year. So this is why I said, oh my gosh, why could every practice do this? I'm no different than anybody else. We can all do it. I think we just have to have a good team support us, and have that to where we really become a good whitening, center. I mean, it's not rocket science, because if you don't do it, they're going to come to somebody like me, and they won't have. There's not that many people like me, that really have made this and doing it right, and they're going to get burned, or they're not going to get the right results, and you might lose them as a patient. So
Yeah.
I just feel like, wake up, let's do this.
Well, on the practice management side, we really, we take my clinical skills and move them to the management stuff. And on that management side, you have enough. If you're in a group practice with multiple providers, you do whitening specials when you're on vacation. Fill those chairs.
Absolutely.
Find the day. If there's one day in the office, start there that, hey, there's only one of us on Wednesdays. Then your assistants on Wednesday, the one or the two that just love this, create the blocks, have the chair, grow it, because as you're talking through it and it's not a task, it becomes the opportunity of a lifetime.
Right.
It becomes the opportunity to segue into, hey, you've got these trays, we've got this, you're going to come back and see me in my chair once a year, or we'll combine it when you come to your hygiene appointment. Bring those trays. Let's look at them. Let's talk about your results. Let's see if you're happy now still, or if you want to do something different, we're here. And then you leave it alone. But the dentistry, the restorative dentistry, I mean, there's more sugar than ever happening in our country. I mean,
Absolutely.
everybody nurses the drinks, the sports drinks, the candy, the alcohol, you name it. And there's so much dentistry, but people are teeth obsessed right now because of social media. They want it to be instant. They want to look great right now. Why wouldn't you capitalize on that? Why wouldn't dentists jump in on that? And then there's printers. Printers make everything easier now. Like, you don't have to go back there and pour up that mold and figure all that out. Like, scan it, print that thing, and let's suck down a tray and go.
But even if you didn't want to make custom trays, you can still have a great product. I mean, I still sell 1,000 a year of Go from Ultradent. I mean, I still, and
Whitening to go kits.
yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, if they don't, I mean, the thing is we're missing the over the counter component too. I mean, I have a store within my practice. People buy things from me that don't even know me. That's the mentality. Is they don't think, oh gosh, I should have my own store. People buy toothbrushes and they don't even know me. So
Yeah.
this is where we're missing it. We've got to wake up and think, okay, am I a CVS? I could be. I mean, those are the things that if you want to really and truly, change your practice and think outside the box. Think about all the things that could help you grow that really don't cost you a lot. You're already doing anyway, and then grow it. But when I look at my really good friend Amber Auger, who's at RDH on One Roof right now, and I look at her. She broke down for me like how much, and this, Holly, because you're a consultant, what a hygienist brings in on a full day, right? And this is where I said, listen, I love her. I mean, she's one of my very best friends, and I feel like if we looked at that with whitening, if I put up my schedule on whitening beside the hygiene schedule, I'm actually making more money for the practice because we're not filing insurance, and so this is where sometimes I feel like we're not really looking at it. And she goes, Shannon, that's not the same. And I said, no, I am not saying that by no means. What I'm trying to do is wake up one day a week. Even if you only do whitening one day a week, that's cash all day long, to where you could potentially make $2,500 cash for something you didn't even really try. I mean, my good friend Philip Talley down in Atlanta, he's doing it like one day a week. He does it on Fridays, and he said,
Yeah.
Shannon, it's cash all day long, all day long. And I said, I know. And he said, I don't know what the world I was thinking. I just thought people wouldn't want it, And he said, I thought they would say no, I'm not going to pay for it. But one of the things that I do is I try to be the cheapest. I'm not going to give it away for free. That's where we get in trouble when we think, oh, you do a cleaning, we're going to give you free whitening trays. Well, guess what? They're never going to do it. But lower the fee. Have a really good fee where you make a little bit of money. But remember, the ultimate goal is to get them into restorative, right? I mean, the ultimate goal is to get them into Invisalign, or to get them to do that crown, or to get them to do something else if they need it. We're not going to sell them on things if they don't need it. But let me tell you, when you whiten one person, you get the mother, the brother, the sister. I mean, I get the entire family. And I think that's what we're missing. We're not thinking about how can we get this whole family and referrals and these kids into our office and keep them there,
Yes.
Anything
Well, and nowadays we have, I mean, everybody's scanning. I teach preventive scans in hygiene. They're scanning as part of their appointments. If you're scanning, you're halfway there. You already have what you need. It's really that easy. If you're taking shades in your hygiene appointments or in your restorative appointments and you're like, wow, this is the color, and hey, if you ever, we have whitening here at this office. If you ever want to whiten your teeth up and knock off some of that color, we can do it for you. We already have your scan. So it really can be one more step if you're interested. It's people don't know what you have to offer if your team is not talking about it, and if there's not,
Absolutely.
It's not on your slideshow in your waiting room or in your rooms, if you're not running your slides or having your team trained to have that discussion, we're really turning people into robots. Absolutely. You're here for this, you get this, you leave. Well, they're there for the education too. They're there for the education, and that stuff happens in a conversational setting, in a relationship setting. So you and I can rant on this one all day long because we know the value. People have physically paid our offices that we have worked for,
right,
$50,000 to get a makeover.
Right. I mean,
And then you pay your lab fee by itself.
by
We know
itself.
how it's done.
Right. The thing for me too is like in my practice that I worked in, my really big practice that I love. I mean, I still love them. There was 5 dentists, 69 team members. They're not a dental service group. They just love their patients. And they had, one of the things that I was mesmerized by was how much, like they had big baskets of toothpaste, all different brands. And it was like going to CVS. I was like, oh my God, why they got all this stuff out everywhere? They've got, all kinds of shelving, and they've got every toothbrush on demand. They've got and they said, Shannon, we're not here to make money off of that. We just want to be a place where patients can come and buy things. And that really, I never seen anybody ever do that. And that stuck with me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I will tell you, I mean, for me, it's like they hit it spot on. I mean, if you doing whitening, even if you don't want to make trays and you don't have a scanner and you don't want to take impressions, have the go or have whitening pens, even though I'm not a fan of pens, but pens, have the toothbrushes, have the whitening toothpaste. I mean, in 1 year, I think I've sold 220 tubes of whitening toothpaste.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy what you don't think. And one lady, she buys 12 tubes at a time. But I'm like, are you eating this? But the mentality's got to change, because this is where, I think we have to look at ourselves as, we want to buy them from us. And we want to make sure if I'm going to tell them this is what you need, then maybe we should be selling it, because we can make good money. We don't have to, worry about Amazon. I always beat Amazon prices. I'm going to every time, but I'm still making money off of that, and I think sometimes we feel like we have to make so much money off of everything we sell. But we can make a little bit of money and then think about the treatment. I think that's what the bigger prize is we got to think about the treatment and keeping them in treatment.
I can't imagine how much treatment you're sending to doctors that you do business with.
Oh, listen,
I cannot imagine how much orthodontics you send. I can't imagine.
7.
You send
7 a week.
7?
I'm a whitening center. I'm only open three days a week. I mean, I've got other businesses. I'm only here 3 days. And
so 3 days a week, you're sending 7 patients.
At least 7.
Average ortho, 5 to 7. Let's just put it in 6.
Right. It's crazy. And that's why I moved next door. Because he said, I'm no dummy. I'm moving where you are, and that's what I think we're not thinking of. Listen, I do not sell people things that I know they don't need. I don't talk about that. I will, even if they come in and they're here to do Zoom, I'm like, you don't need Zoom. We could just make you trays, save that money for these things. That's very ethical. And at the end of the day, my husband goes, oh my God, everybody, you should not tell people that they don't have to do things. And I said, no. Because when we're ethical, it always comes back. And I said, but this is where I do want them to save their money. I know what restorative costs, but I feel like this is where we're missing it. I mean, we're not thinking about just having this whole, it's almost like a separate business within your business, and you're making people happy. Everybody can be a part of it. And I just feel like you got one team member that is going to absolutely love this role. Just like we have a team member that loves ortho. We got a team member that loves to do perio. We got somebody that loves to do endo. Somebody does lab work. You got to find out, and you said that best, find out what they love and then let them run with it. Because when we build these titles and let these team members, I would much rather you leave my side as an assistant at the chair for restorative, and you would go into an area where, I mean, I'm a restorative assistant. I teach that. But what I loved was whitening. And this is how we went from seeing just a few patients a day to 22 patients a day with no lunch. I was working 7 to 7. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want you to do 7 to 7. But there's a lot that could come from it if you do it.
There is. And communication and talking, we don't diagnose dentistry, but we co-discover a lot of things with people through conversation, and we find out why they're stressed about the way their teeth look. We find out all their objections, and we help them overcome it. And then we get them to the right place. We get them to the right provider that can help them get through it. But when you have digital scans already, like that makes that easier. When they've already been like preheated because we had some discovery, looking at pictures, super easy. And then you said something that's very exciting. Like, my whole company has been built on building businesses, building the people, opening opportunities door, which is our tagline. And really, inside of a business, you can build 3 or 4 businesses, all with different LLCs if you wanted or not. But it's no different than having a sleep shop. If you do sleep apnea and you want it in its own little LLC inside of your business, so that way it's protected and it goes out and meets medical professionals and it credentials itself through medical. Totally cool. If you
Right.
had a whitening shop, it's separate from your bonus program, but there might be somebody who could benefit in your office from growing it. And you don't have to start a whitening shop today. You have to start like wanting to do some things to help invest in your team, because
Right.
that creates loyalty and that creates entrepreneurship and that creates lifelong partnerships
Right.
when you're aligned and the values are there and your culture's good. So 22 people a day, or I think you gave me some crazy number. How many people did you whiten this past year?
It's 2139. 2139 in 2 years.
2 years. So that's that's like 1,100 a year, and you're only open 3 days a week.
3
And there
days.
was some startup in there, and
Yeah.
I mean, you put the accuracy of what the real numbers are, like that's powerful.
Right. And it may not be,
Powerful.
for in office whitening, it may only have been trays, it could have been
It could
pre-filled
be any kind
trays.
of whitening, but
Who
it's getting
cares?
people.
Right.
Yeah, if they want to do it, they care about their teeth. They care about the way they look, and they want those pictures to be great.
Right.
Why wouldn't everybody be whitening?
Right.
Why
But the
wouldn't?
thing is there's no speakers. There's nobody talking about it. It is when you go to these meetings, not one person is mentioning it. Nobody's talking about it. And the thing is it's the only procedure in dentistry that we're not worried about insurance, because insurance is not going to pay anything of it, and patients already know that. I mean, you don't have to say, "Oh no, insurance doesn't cover that." Pretty much everybody knows it ain't going to cover it, right? I mean, and so the thing for me is, why would you not? Especially if you got a team member that really enjoys it. But you got to find out, who could do that. And it does take a team to help us funnel those patients into the right place. But I feel like, it's just something that, to me, it fits, and it may not be for everybody, but you still could do more whitening than what you're doing, and I think that's what we got to look at, is you still could be doing more, right?
More than what we're having done. So if I wanted an opportunity to learn more about whitening, you do virtual trainings, like you do some lunch and learns and some things to help people better understand how to incorporate it in their office, right?
I do. And I work with a lot of different manufacturers too, because I want you to know that, Ultradent is probably my number one, just because it's tried and true and it's what I use every
love
day.
Ultradent. Yep.
I love Ultradent. And I've been using some Aviclar Vivadent products, and I'm looking at, like, what can those products do and where would I put those in. I have a Zoom light, actually I have four.
So we like Philips.
Yeah, we like Philips. I mean, you have to think about having some more than just one type. But one of the things that we do is we can help you with, how's this going to work? So you're ready, because one of the things you got to do is you got to be ready. If you're going to launch something, you don't want to have just 2 boxes of whitening. And again, I teach you how to buy in bulk, so this way it doesn't break the bank. And, how do we make money and we don't have to spend a whole bunch of money? And then where are you going to put these patients? Where's that schedule going to fit right out of the gate? And most importantly, make sure that, what I like about one person doing it is you always have that one person you can count on. Everybody needs to know about it, but that one person takes it and runs with it. And so I feel like, we're helping you to find out who is that person. You don't want to just assign it to somebody and they're like, I hate whitening. They got to love it, and they also got to love people. But I think, that's one of the things that is important. We have a 7-hour course that really breaks everything down and on our website, but we also do lunch and learns. I do it all the time, even just 20 to 30 minutes to give you just the nuts and bolts of how to do something like this.
Yeah, and then you can take the 7-hour course.
Right.
Yeah, you can.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I love it. And just the fact of the feeder of what it does for your colleagues, for dentists. I mean, if you're sending 7 referrals to the orthodontist a week, and that's 35 grand a week that you're sending to a referral, why wouldn't they want you to be like, more? I'm going to send you all my whitening so you can keep sending me more of this. And then all the restorative dentistry that you're helping people to realize how important that value is of keeping your teeth, of, being able to give it the long-term results. You're giving people longevity, but you're not pounding them and beating them at the chair. You're literally just exposing them to these ideas of what's happening in their mouth, and that they should see the dentist and they should go back. That's a ton of goodwill that you're putting out there, and that's giving, like, that's passion. How can someone not look and go, wow, Shannon Pace Brinker, she's like on fire? That's so much passion.
I hate to say it took this long to find it, but I feel like for me, it's a time where we really and truly, towards the end of my career, I always wanted the patient to, have the best smile. But most importantly, I always wanted to be ethical with it. If they don't have any money, this is so ethical. It's the least amount of dentistry we can do to at least get them started. And I think that's one of the things we don't think about. Any one of us could be homeless at any given time and not have any money. And there are a lot of times when give a lot of things away, but it always comes back. And I feel like with whitening, it's the easiest thing to do for people. It's pennies on the dollar if you
to change their self-esteem.
Right. It will.
That's what it is.
Every time.
You are changing self-esteem. You're giving people a reason to smile. You're not waiting till their teeth are straight or waiting till their work is done. You're giving them a reason. So I love that you do it before ortho. I love that it's your jumpstart to restorative. I love that you have built this beautiful business in Virginia Beach. And you still speak and teach and do all the fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you also do some fun things as another business. You want to talk about Teeth Obsessed? Because that's pretty cool too.
It is, but we have some characters. So right now I am one of ITSY's top 20 in a space. I have my own website. It's called Teeth Obsessed, but I also have a store on Etsy, and really honestly did it during COVID because I was like, what am I going to do? Sit and look at my husband, and I said, oh my gosh, I can make these earrings. I've got a Cricut. I can do this. I can do that. And it's turned now into, we have close to 2,000 products that we make. Wow. I grow succulents all in the top of my salon here. They're all up in the glass windows. And so I grow succulents, and we have vases. We do earrings and stickers, all sorts of other types of things. But really, we have a lot of characters that we do as well. We have Brad Pitts and Fishers, and we've got Miss Flossie. I just got her trademark, so no one can use a character that is named Miss Flossie, or you will get a cease and desist from me. She is a tooth with a thong. And she's a pretty cool cat, but it's fun, and this is where I think sometimes we think about dentistry. Dentistry is fun. And when I think sometimes during COVID, we get so burned out that we just feel like we needed something to make us laugh, because we need that again, and I think this is where every team member is creative. They've got something. Everyone can do something, or there's something that they love to do. And I think we just have to find it, and that's what I encourage your dentists. You got to find it. Find what they do best, or what they love, and what are their passions, and what they like to do on the side. And you're already doing that with some of your team. It's
yeah, we do. It's so fun. One of my dental assistants, she made us cups. I got people who make the shirts. We do those things because those things are giving them even more creativeness, more value. Those are the girls who are also the ones who love your social media and want to do more of that, want to talk about things in a way that patients understand. Right. But we have to value it, and we have to slow down as dentists to speed up. If you're a business owner, you got to spend some time with your team and get to know them, and make sure your culture's good so you can keep them, retain them, and grow them, and not just they're burned out and they're gone. Or you're rolling through team members. You'll never want to do whitening programs. You'll never want to utilize their other assets if you don't retain them and work on your culture. People leave. People will leave for $1 because your culture sucks. Right. If your culture's good, I'll come to you and talk to you about the $1 I might be asking for.
Hollie, I will say this. When I worked for Dr. Etheridge, and he was the most ethical dentist I've ever met in my entire life. I mean that. I mean, for someone to have 69 team members and to care for these people the way he does, there's nobody like him. I mean that. And one of the things that I will say is I got paid an hourly salary. I didn't get a penny off of those patients. Yeah. And I was okay with it. I mean, and listen, it wasn't about the money for me. It was the gratification of feeling that I'm doing something. This is something, that I love, and I'm passionate about it, but you're also helping me with my skill set. I'm feeling like I'm worthy. It's never really about the money. I can make the same amount of money at Walmart working for Walmart right now. Seriously.
You can.
Seriously. I mean, I got a patient right now. She said, well, she's the manager. And I said, well, what do they make? I'm like, holy crap, maybe I need to go work at Walmart. But I mean that. I feel like this is where we're missing it. Dentists always think we're just wanting more money, more money, more money. No, just make me feel better. At the end of the day, this is my getaway from home. I'm gonna get home. I got all the kids to take care of. But I really feel like this is where we're missing it. We're not trying to make this a fun place again. We need that fun back in dentistry. And
we need to laugh. Dentists need to enjoy the patient sit in the chair. If we reset, let's say 35 years ago, dentists were training at the chair. Yep. Dentists were talking to everyone about how much they love their career. They were raising little baby dentists, little baby hygienists, little baby future assistants from their chair in their community because they were passionate about it, because they loved it. And now, if you're just bobbing in and out and you don't really know who you just met, how could you ever have that relationship conversation that could maybe move someone to a career or move someone to an opportunity? I started in dentistry scrubbing instruments. That connection was made from my father-in-law to their family dentist. Wow. I was working for the airline. I made a great living.
Wow.
And I took a job to scrub instruments for $0.
Wow.
And then I would sleep in my car, and then I'd go to the airport. But I wanted in this space. I fell in love with it. The very first instrument I scrubbed, I was like, I love this. There are people. I love people. You know that. You love people. There are people. There are things that we can do to just make them comfortable and happy and feel okay about being there. Feel normal, that this is normal. And that right there, I mean, you go from this to that. It's a big ask. But dentists, they don't look at that. They look at, well, she wants more. She wants more. Well, you want to pay your bills.
Right.
I love it, but you got to give assistants, hygienists, administrator opportunities to grow so that you would want to give them more money.
Right.
Give them CE. Let them shine. Give them training from you. You went to school so they can learn and be able to regurgitate it at the chair. If you can't do it, bring people to do it. But it was like, when you get in an environment that someone's willing to really teach you, invest in you, put that time and energy in you because they see more in you than you can see in yourself, you stay. You stay because they challenge you, they help you, they listen to your ideas, and then giving out wage increases becomes a conversation that happens yearly, every 6 months, whatever, but it actually is a time to sit down and say, this is what you're doing great at. This is where I want you to go. Can we go there? And what do you want to do here? That's how you keep people. And I'm in offices and I'm like, girl got there 8 years ago and never has she ever had a performance review. Never has she been asked what she wants to do, how she wants to grow.
I'm surprised.
And I'm like, why are you still here? What kept you?
Right.
And it really was loyalty only.
Wow.
Because he trained me and I'm loyal and I'm like, well, we've got to set you on fire or you're gonna burn out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we see this every day. You hear it every day. You hear it from way more people than I do. Like, woo! Like, and there's such a need for education and there's a need to learn.
There is. But and it has to go both ways too. I mean, I'm the first to jump in an assistant's butt when it comes to being lazy and not showing up on time and and just sitting there and checked out and not really investing in yourself. The one thing that I always said is I never waited on someone to pay for my education. I mean, I've paid thousands of dollars for my school and I still do. I still take classes.
Me too.
And you have to. And the thing is I don't wait on someone to pay for that for me. I invested in myself because that's something nobody can take away. That's why people say, well, why did you keep your CDA? Why do you still have it? You don't really need it. I worked hard for that. I am keeping it, and
I need it forever.
Exactly. And I agree.
It's yours. You earned it, right?
Right. And the thing is I feel like it does go both ways because if you are hoping that your doctor is going to invest in you, you better show, the initiative.
What should he invest in you with? You do it. You do the work. Exactly. Hey, doc, I took these online courses. I watched these webinar. I'm so pumped up. Can we sit down and talk about it? I have a couple ideas. You get going. We have to be self-starters, so then we can also create value for what we can deliver.
Right.
I have people who reach out and say this all the time. Hey, I want to do what you're doing. I was like, fantastic. Let's fix your practice together. I'll give you some guidance. You help to put it into play. And then we get some crickets. I'm sure you get that with whitening shop. I want to do this. Can I do this? I'm doing this. And then they have no idea, like, you can totally do this. Let me tell you your upfront costs.
Right. The thing is, you can still do everything. We can do so much in our own practice, you know. And again, I'm not here to squash anybody's dreams, but I feel like, you know, we're
them. We're building them.
Exactly. You gotta do the time. You know, I mean, we had to learn how to do Keynote, PowerPoint. We had to take videos, and now more than ever, we're having to learn how to do all these things. You know, and that's the thing that you have to tell yourself is if you want to do it, you gotta go for it yourself. You know, I'm not going to sit by and just expect somebody to do everything for me. You know, so
I gotta be willing to invest in me,
exactly.
On the clock, off the clock.
Right.
When I'm like, somebody gave you a login to, I don't know, an online program.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that login? Are you going to complain to me that I'm not paying you on the job to study for yourself? Or are you going to take that and say, I'm getting that certificate? Oh my goodness. How do I need to schedule my evenings so that I can set time aside once, twice a week to log in and study? Because I want to go to work with that certificate and I want to say, done it.
Right.
Got it. But if we're waiting for the payment all the time, we're waiting for the employer to invest before we ever move. And then on top of that investment, pay for the travel, pay for the time you're doing it, pay for all the ancillary items that have to go with it. Then what confidence did you give him to make him want to make that investment in you? Because those investments are a good $2,000 to $3,000.
Right.
Why would my doctor want to take me out of a practice, send me on a trip, grow me get the education, come back, and not even have a guarantee that I'm going to put it into place if I didn't ever show him or her some self-starting. Right. Like, your self-starting has been, I got this. Let me try that. Let's go. Where we all have to, in dental assisting, have that level of energy of, I'm going to put in me because I then want you to put in me, not I do nothing until he does it for me. Right. Or she does it for me. That gets you nowhere.
Nope.
That mentality is what I feel like has started to create some of this sterile coldness, relationship less in our practices.
Absolutely.
100%. So but hopefully what goes around comes around.
Yep.
There's an enormous amount of assistants that are passionate and who love their patients. And I'm like, teach that to the next generation and the next generation. Leave your legacy in your practice and train yourself up. If you're 50 and your back hurts, you're 60 and your back hurts, you have to see the writing on the wall that the next 10 years need to look different than the first 10 or 20 or 30, right?
Absolutely.
And start mapping out, like, what am I excited about? What am I good at? What can I take all these years of knowledge and do with it? Well, this is the best option is become the whitening specialist of your office. Dig in deep. I'll train these two girls to do root canals and fillings and crowns. If at the end of that, you'll be willing to invest in me to start a whitening chair or to be able to do whitening one day a week, or let me do whitening one day a week while I'm training them, and let's build it into the practice.
Yeah.
It works. It works.
And you'll have so much, your team will be so much happier. Everybody will be fulfilled. And it's just an easy thing to do. It really is.
When you have the person that's kind of sitting on the sidelines and you're like, oh, she's tired, she's burnt out. Don't have the let's talk about replacing her question. Have the let's talk about firing her up question.
Right. How
can we engage her? Let's sit down and talk about what do you need? You're my most trusted employee for all these years. What do we need to do to get you re-energized, excited? Like, this is our thing, right?
You don't want to lose them.
Yeah. And we've both had burnout and we've both had ceilings that we felt like we needed to keep growing, and it took finding people that would invest in us to keep us growing.
Right.
Right? So
Absolutely.
we eat it, breathe it, feel it. It is there.
Yep.
So if you're a dental assistant, a dental professional, and you need a spark up, first, invest in yourself.
Right.
Don't wait for somebody else to do it. Watch a podcast, a video cast, listen, take some CE. Find someone who's super excited about what they do, and you connect with them so you get recharged. Right. Find something in your office, a new piece of equipment that you don't know about that you need to be good at, and make that your mission.
Absolutely.
And then you're starting to come out of the doldrums, and then you have nothing but opportunity, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So, whitening, treatment planning, Invisalign, like you're the Invisalign preacher. So if you need Shannon,
I've been an orthodontist. If I wasn't so old, I go back to school. I always tell my kids that they're in the chair. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? I don't know what I want to do. You want to be an orthodontist? That's where the money is. Be an orthodontist. And like, really? I'm like, yeah. You got all these assistants. Hire like 10 assistants and be an orthodontist. They laugh. It's so funny. And when I wish I had this video of my kids when they were graduating from 5th grade. They have all the kids and they talk about what they want to do. And it was so funny to see. Nobody wanted to be a general dentist. Nobody said I wanted to do root canals. There were like so many kids that said I want to be orthodontist. And I just sat there with just a smile on my face thinking, wow, this is pretty funny. Nobody said I want to be a dentist or a general dentist. Everybody said I want to be an orthodontist. And I was thinking, smart kids. That's what I would do right now.
Keep going.
Right?
Yeah.
It's fun. But that's what dentistry is about. We got to keep, but we need those kids. I always tell kids all the time, I'm like, hey, you ever thought about being a dentist? It's a great profession. We're not really trying to cultivate some new people. We need team members and we need dentists. We're hurting. But it is a good profession, and it is what we make it, and
it is.
100%, it's got to be fun because I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I can go make some car fresheners, but at the end of the day, we have to have that fulfillment of patients and people. That's why we're doing it. It's not for us to make millions. We're never going to do that. I feel like,
but we're in it for our people. We're in it for our tribe. So Shannon, I gave them tip 1. What other tips do you have if you're in burnout or you're in interest of wanting to do more? What tips do you have that they could just take off and run with?
I think, first of all, finding a mentor is very important, finding someone that you really can relate to. But at the end of the day, I wish when I was younger, I would have had more courage to speak up for myself and to let my doctor know that I wasn't happy. I think sometimes we just automatically feel like we're just going to give them a notice and leave. And we didn't give them the chance to really sit with them. Because you really do care about them. That way, telling them that you're not happy. Listen, there's a lot of things I'm going through right now, but I got to tell you, I'm just not happy. And sometimes I think just having the conversation of what could we do better as a team? How can I be more fulfilled? I think sometimes we just don't have the courage to speak up. And I've been there. They need the courage to speak up. And I think nobody's going to take better care of you than you. And if you're not happy, we don't want you to leave dentistry. We don't want you to leave your practice. We just want you to tell us. Sometimes the doctor doesn't know. They're not a mind reader. Maybe they don't know that you hate doing provisionals, but you love utilizing the scanner. You love lab work. If you don't ever tell them, how are they going to know? You can't get mad at them for not putting it right. So I would say that.
Don't talk about it at the chair. Don't talk about it in front of your friends. Set a meeting. Get it on the books. Have a conversation about your career. Don't be that typical, this is my job. If this is your career, be a professional.
Absolutely.
Get some time and give people willing to help invest in you. But invest in yourself. You got to invest in yourself. I love the mentor thing. I think you and I have had great mentors throughout our careers that have encouraged us to, yeah, you've got this. Or, ooh, I think that's a bad idea. I think you need to rethink that. That have just been leveled out with us, to be honest. But all of that takes being professional, not doing weird stuff that makes us all look bad. No show, no calls, not going to talk to you anymore, ghosting you. Like, that gives us all a bad reputation.
Don't think that dental community is very, very small. It will follow you, and you don't want that.
Will follow you across the country. You and I both know it.
Yeah, do the right thing, but think about yourself. Do you want your kids to see you doing these things, or do you want to set an example? And that's what I always tell myself. I want my kids to know I busted my tail and I'm still working. My son's in the op right now. that's what we do. And this is where, you know, I'm 100% invested, you know, and it's not just was my own practice, the same thing for someone else's office. But I feel like we're missing that, you know, but you are worthy. You know, every person is worthy of being treated better. And just really finding what you love. But I think sometimes we just don't ask and we don't
That's right.
voice it. So make sure you
All
do
right,
it.
Shannon, if people want to get a hold of you, how do they
Yes.
find you?
Super easy. It's at chairsideassisting.com, or you can just do shannonpacebrinker.com. And I would love to help you in any way I can. I feel like this is, you know, a great thing for us to get these practices reboosted, rebirthed, in that whitening process. And thank you so much, Hollie, for having me. It's been great.
Absolutely.
And you know, you and I, we can talk all night and next week, all the way into next week. But this has been fun, so I hope you'll have me back.
This has been. So if you need teeth anything, go to Teeth Obsessed.
Teeth Obsessed.
You want to learn about the whitening shop, follow it first.
Yes.
And visit Shannon, because ShannonPaceBrinker.com. Listen, that girl's got it, and she can help you get fired up and re-inspired. So thank you, Shannon, for all your time tonight. I can't wait to talk about everything. I want to go through everything, because dental assistants need this in their life. They need inspiration. They need to know there are people out here that can do big things, even if you don't know what things they're doing. You can do it big in your community, big in your office. You don't have to be all over the world to do big things and make a difference. Starts at your chair, right?
100%. 100%.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.